Welcome to the deep dive. This week, we're diving into the r/LocalLLaMA subreddit
Okay.
to uncover the hottest AI topics and debates that have been making waves this past week.
Yeah, it's a dynamic space, and the speed at which trends emerge and evolve within this community, it's really a testament to the rapid pace of development we're seeing in local AI.
It really is, and this week was no exception. So let's unpack some of the top posts from the week ending October 3rd. And we're going to start with a post that shot straight to the top with 788 upvotes. It's titled, OpenAI releases 8-byte faster Whisper large V3 turbo model available in the browser. Our Whisper is OpenAI's speech-to-text model, and this new version is not only blazing fast, but also accessible right in your browser.
Okay.
So that's pretty neat, huh?
It is impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the comments section really dug into the technical details. The key takeaway seems to be that this new large V3 turbo model, it achieves its speed by drastically reducing the number of decoding layers
Yeah.
from 32 down to just 4.
Wow. Okay.
And interestingly, many users pointed out that this streamlined architecture, it's actually more in line with typical practices in the speech-to-text field.
So it's like OpenAI went a bit overboard with the original Whisper model.
Yeah, that seems to be the consensus among a lot of the commenters. They're suggesting that the original model might have been over-engineered in terms of decoding layers, which actually hindered its speed
Right.
without necessarily providing significant accuracy benefits.
Huh. Interesting. And get this, the comments are saying that this architectural change only results in minor quality degradation. But here's where it gets really interesting. There's a lot of discussion about how this new model performs with different languages.
Right, and this is where some users are hitting a snag. While the speed improvements seem pretty consistent across the board, some commenters, particularly those working with languages other than English, are reporting accuracy issues.
So it's a bit of a trade-off then, speed for accuracy, especially if you're working with multiple languages.
Exactly. And that sparked a whole debate in the comments about whether this trade-off is even worthwhile. Some users argued that the speed gains outweigh the minor accuracy dips, while others are hoping that OpenAI will address these language-specific issues in future updates.
Yeah, makes sense. Now, shifting gears to our next post, which has a slightly more, shall we say, critical tone towards OpenAI. It's sitting at number 2 with 723 upvotes, and the title is OpenAI's True Charter.
This post is really fascinating because it delves into the historical context of OpenAI's founding and its relationship with Google. The post features a screenshot of a tweet that claims OpenAI's initial purpose. It wasn't actually to make AI free for everyone, but rather to prevent Google from controlling AGI.
Juicy. So what's the r/LocalLLaMA community saying about this blast from the past?
Well, the comment section just exploded with over 465 upvotes on the top comment alone, which argues that Google's dominance in the early days of AI, particularly with DeepMind, was undeniable.
Right.
They had the best talent, the resources, but their strict non-disclosure agreements created this culture of secrecy.
So Google was like the silent giant innovating behind closed doors, but not really sharing their toys with the rest of the world.
Exactly. And many comments suggest that this approach might have ultimately backfired. While Google was busy hoarding its AI breakthroughs, the open source community, fueled by this desire for collaboration and accessibility, started to gain momentum.
Yeah, it's like that old saying, a rising tide lifts all boats. Except in this case, it seems like Google was trying to build a higher wall around its boat instead of letting others on board.
What a great analogy. And the comments are filled with examples of how Google's reluctance to embrace open source might have cost them in the long run.
Interesting.
One highly upvoted comment even stated that Google continues to innovate in the fundamentals while others keep riffing on the fundamental breakthroughs coming out of Google.
So they're the brains behind the operation, but they're not so great at turning those ideas into products that people actually use.
That seems to be a recurring theme.
Yeah.
One commenter summed it up perfectly. I think what Google sucks at is productizing their breakthroughs. They have the math. They just don't do well interacting with humans.
Ouch, that's gotta sting. Speaking of things that might sting a little, let's move on to post number 3, which sparked quite the debate about the price of AI. OpenAI announces ChatGPT raise from $20 to $44 a month, currently sits at 705 upvotes. And let me tell you, the reactions are mixed.
To put it mildly, this price hike really ignited a discussion about the value proposition of AI tools like ChatGPT. On one hand, you have users who are perfectly happy to pay a premium for what they perceive as a valuable service. But on the other hand, you have a significant number of users who feel that doubling the price for what they see as incremental improvements is simply not justified.
Especially with the rise of local AI models, right? I mean, why pay a premium for a cloud-based service when you can potentially run a similar model on your own hardware?
That's the million-dollar question that many in the r/LocalLLaMA community are grappling with. And the comments reflect this tension, with some users arguing that the convenience and ease of use of cloud-based services like ChatGPT still outweigh the potential cost savings of running a local model.
Especially for users who might not have the technical expertise or the hardware to run these models locally.
Precisely. It's a classic case of time versus money. Some users are willing to invest the time and effort to learn the ins and outs of local AI, while others prefer the plug-and-play nature of cloud-based solutions. And let's not forget, running a powerful local setup can get expensive too, when you factor in the cost of GPUs, RAM, and power consumption.
Speaking of GPUs, our next post dives headfirst into the world of hardware, a topic that always gets the r/LocalLLaMA community fired up. Clocking in at number 4 with 705 upvotes we have. RTX 5080 allegedly comes with 16 GB of GDDR7 memory alongside an image showing that title. Now, I'll admit I'm not exactly a hardware whiz, but 16 GB doesn't sound like a lot. For a top-of-the-line graphics card in 2024, does it?
You're right, and the r/LocalLLaMA community is not holding back their disappointment. The top comment on this post with a staggering 398 upvotes simply states, and apparently the 5080 will still have 16 gigabytes, of course. The sarcasm is palpable.
Yeah. So what gives? Why are people so underwhelmed by what should be a significant amount of VRAM?
Well, there are a few factors at play here. First, the demands of both gaming and AI applications have skyrocketed in recent years. Large language models in particular are incredibly memory hungry, and 16 gigabyte, while respectable, might not be enough to handle the most demanding workloads.
So it's like trying to cram a whole elephant into a Mini Cooper. You might be able to squeeze it in there, but it's not going to be pretty.
Exactly. And then there's the issue of NVIDIA's own product segmentation. They offer data center GPUs with significantly larger VRAM capacities, sometimes hundreds of gigabytes. But those cards are prohibitively expensive for the average consumer.
Right.
So you have this situation where the hardware demands are increasing, but the VRAM options for consumer-grade cards haven't kept pace.
I see. So it's like NVIDIA is dangling this carrot of massive VRAM in front of us, but then only letting us have a nibble.
Essentially. And the frustration is understandable. The comments are filled with jokes about how older cards, like the RTX 3090, with its 24 GB of VRAM, are suddenly looking a lot more appealing.
Wow.
Some users are even calling for NVIDIA to unlaunch the RTX 5080, referencing a similar situation with the RTX 4080 launch, where NVIDIA eventually backtracked due to community backlash.
Yikes. So, not exactly the smoothest launch for NVIDIA. And to make matters worse, there are rumors circulating about the card's power consumption. Apparently, the 16 GB beast could draw a whopping 400 watts. That's a lot of juice.
It is, and it has some users concerned about heat noise and, of course, their electricity bills. The r/LocalLLaMA community is nothing if not resourceful, though. Many are already sharing tips on undervolting and optimizing power settings to mitigate the potential drawbacks of this power-hungry card.
Well, let's hope those tips work, because based on these comments, it seems like people are going to need all the help they can get to keep their systems cool and their wallets happy if they decide to take the RTX 5080 plunge. Now, before we dive into the next round of our LocalLLaMA revelations, which involve everything from Bill Gates to Meta's alleged million GPU training cluster,
It's dope.
let's jump right back into those our LocalLLaMA revelations. We left off talking about power consumption, and this next post really highlights how energy is becoming a major talking point in the AI world. At number 5, with 605 upvotes, a quote from Bill Gates is making waves. Data centers used to be measured by the number of processors. Now they're measured by megawatts. Talk about a sign of the times. It's no secret that training these massive AI models requires a ton of computing power. But measuring data centers in megawatts, that's a whole new level.
It is. And the comment section is buzzing with a mix of awe and apprehension. Some users are drawing comparisons to cryptocurrency mining, which also faced heavy criticism for its energy footprint.
Yeah, I remember those days. It felt like everyone and their grandma was trying to mine Bitcoin, and the energy grid was definitely feeling the strain. But back to AI. What's the general consensus in the r/LocalLLaMA community? Is this level of energy consumption sustainable?
That's the big question, isn't it?
Yeah.
And as you might expect, there's no easy answer. Some users argue that the potential benefits of AI, particularly in areas like medicine, climate change mitigation, and scientific discovery, outweigh the environmental costs. Others are calling for more research into energy-efficient training methods and hardware.
So a healthy dose of both optimism and realism, which seems like a good approach to pretty much everything in the world of AI, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, speaking of pushing the boundaries of what's possible, buckle up because our next post involves a rumor so audacious it has everyone talking.
Okay.
At number 6, with 592 upvotes, the title says it all. Meta's rumored 1 million GPU AI infrastructure will be used to train Llama 4.
1 million GPUs. Seriously, that's more GPUs than some countries have inhabitants. Is that even technically feasible?
That's what everyone's trying to figure out. The comments are a goldmine of speculation and technical analysis. On the one hand, Meta has the resources and the engineering prowess to at least attempt such a feat.
Okay.
They've been investing heavily in AI infrastructure, and they've already demonstrated their ability to build and operate massive data centers.
So it's not entirely outside the realm of possibility.
Not at all. But here's the catch. Even if they can overcome the logistical hurdles of building such a system, managing 1 million GPUs is a whole other ballgame.
Right.
We're talking about coordinating data transfer, power distribution, cooling, and dealing with inevitable hardware failures on a scale never seen before.
Yeah, I can only imagine the tech support nightmares. Hello, IT. My GPU cluster seems to be down again.
Right. And then there's the question of software optimization. Simply throwing more GPUs at a problem doesn't necessarily translate to linear performance gains. You need highly specialized software and algorithms to effectively distribute the workload and prevent bottlenecks.
So it's not as simple as just hitting the train model button on 1 million GPUs simultaneously.
Oh, if only it were that easy. The comment section is full of users discussing potential solutions, from novel cooling techniques to cutting-edge networking technologies.
Wow.
Some are even speculating about the possibility of Meta developing entirely new hardware, specifically designed for this massive training cluster.
Sounds like we're entering the realm of science fiction here, but that's what makes this so exciting, right? The sheer audacity of what they're attempting.
Exactly. Whether they succeed or not, this rumor speaks to the ambition and scale at which the AI race is being run, and it's a clear signal that the battle for AI supremacy is far from over.
Speaking of battles, our next post takes us into the arena of AI regulation, a topic that's sure to spark some strong opinions. At number 7, with 567 upvotes, we have Newsom vetoes AI bill. Short and to the point, but clearly this one struck a nerve.
It did indeed. The comments section is a whirlwind of reactions ranging from cheers of victory to cries of disappointment. Some see this as a win for innovation, arguing that overly broad AI regulations could stifle progress. Others believe it's a missed opportunity to establish clear guidelines and ethical frameworks for this rapidly developing technology.
So it's the classic debate between fostering innovation and mitigating potential risks.
Precisely. And the Newsom veto highlights the complexity of this issue. He didn't reject the bill outright, but instead expressed concerns about its broad scope.
I see.
It seems he's more in favor of targeted regulations that address specific harmful applications of AI, rather than blanket rules based on factors like model size.
So more nuanced approach to regulation.
It seems so. And that's resonating with many in the LocalLLaMA community. They're looking for solutions that address the legitimate concerns around AI safety and ethics, without stifling the incredible potential of this technology.
Makes sense. Now let's switch gears from regulation back to the world of hardware. Our next stop takes us to AMD, a company that's been trying to challenge NVIDIA's dominance in the GPU space. Post number 8. AMD releases open source language model and training code for Ryzen AI and ROCm. Has 467 upvotes, but the overall sentiment seems, well, let's just say it's not exactly overwhelming enthusiasm.
Yeah, you're right. The response has been a bit lukewarm. While the move to open source their language model and training code is generally seen as a positive step, the r/LLaMA community is pointing out that AMD still has a lot of catching up to do.
Okay, in what way?
Specifically, their ROCm software ecosystem, which is essentially their answer to NVIDIA's Veto, is seen as lagging behind in terms of performance stability and developer support.
So it's like AMD brought a knife to a gunfight. They're trying to compete in the open source arena, but their tools aren't quite up to par.
That's a good way to put it. The comments are full of users urging AMD to fix ROCm and provide a more robust software experience. There's a sense that while AMD has made impressive strides on the hardware front, their software offerings haven't kept pace, which hinders their ability to truly challenge NVIDIA's dominance.
It's a classic case of needing both hardware and software to work seamlessly together to create a compelling user experience. So AMD gets points for effort, but they still have some work to do if they want to win over the hearts and minds of the r/LocalLLaMA community.
Agreed. Now let's round out this part of our deep dive with another hardware announcement, this time from a familiar player. At number 9, with 452 upvotes, NVIDIA announces Thor, An ARM-based SoC with 128 gigabytes of unified memory is generating a lot of buzz, and for good reason.
Okay, first things first. What exactly is in SOC, and why is everyone freaking out about unified memory? Break it down for us.
Sure thing. So SoC stands for System on a Chip.
Okay.
It's essentially like taking all the crucial components of a computer,
Yeah.
CPU, GPU memory, and sometimes even storage, and cramming them onto a single chip.
Wow.
This makes the entire system smaller, more power efficient, and often more cost-effective to produce.
So it's like the Swiss Army knife of computer chips.
Exactly. Now, unified memory is where things get really interesting. Traditionally, CPUs and GPUs have their own separate memory pools. This creates a bottleneck when you need to transfer data between the two, which can really slow down performance.
Right.
Unified memory, as the name suggests, combines these separate pools into a single address space that both the CPU and GPU can access directly.
So no more data traffic jams. That sounds like a win for performance.
It could be a significant win, especially for AI workloads.
Yeah.
Large language models in particular benefit from having quick and easy access to large amounts of data, and unified memory can help facilitate that.
I see. So NVIDIA's AGX Thor is basically packing some serious firepower into a tiny package. But there's a catch, isn't there? I keep seeing these jokes in the comments about Thor costing as much as a Honda Civic. Is this thing really going to break the bank?
Well, pricing hasn't been officially released yet, but based on the trajectory of previous generations, the AGX Thor could easily land in the several $1,000s range. Hence the car comparisons.
But not exactly pocket change. But some users are arguing that for its target market, robotics, industrial automation, high-performance edge computing, the price might be justified.
That's a valid point.
Yeah.
We're talking about a specialized piece of hardware here that's packing a ton of processing power into a compact and energy-efficient design. It's not meant to be a mass-market product like a gaming GPU.
So more of a niche product for those who need that specific blend of power and efficiency.
Exactly.
Makes sense. And it speaks to how diverse the applications of AI are becoming.
Absolutely. Okay, ready for our final deep dive into the r/LocalLLaMA subreddit for this week?
Hit me with it.
This last post focuses on a technique that has the potential to significantly enhance natural language processing. Question generation.
Okay.
It's titled Question Generation for Document Processing. This post currently sits at 437 upvotes and has sparked a wave of excitement within the community.
Question generation.
Yeah.
Sounds intriguing, but how does it work exactly?
Essentially, it involves training AI models to generate relevant questions based on a given document, and then using those questions and their corresponding answers to improve tasks like summarization.
So instead of simply feeding the model a document and saying, summarize this, we're teaching it to ask questions just like a human would to better understand the context and extract the most important information. That's brilliant.
The r/LocalLLaMA community seems to agree. The comments are filled with praise for this technique, with some users even calling it a game changer for natural language processing. They're sharing examples of how this question generation approach has led to more accurate, concise, and insightful summaries.
It's like giving the AI a set of reading comprehension questions to guide its understanding of the text.
Precisely. And it highlights the importance of prompt engineering and eliciting the best possible performance from these language models.
Yeah, it's like we're learning to speak their language right, figuring out the most effective way to communicate our intentions and goals so they can deliver the results we're looking for.
Exactly. And it's not just about generating any old questions. The discussion in the comments delves into the nuances of structuring prompts, providing context, and even establishing a hierarchy of information to guide the model's understanding.
It's fascinating how even subtle tweaks to the way we interact with these models can have such a profound impact on their output.
Absolutely. And speaking of pushing the boundaries of what's possible, some commenters are even talking about tools that can automate this whole prompt optimization process.
Wait, so we're talking about AI tools that can design better prompts for other AI tools. That's getting meta.
It is. Tools like DSPyY, which is mentioned in the comments, are being developed to analyze desired outputs, quality metrics, and even user feedback to automatically generate and refine prompts for specific tasks.
So it's like having an AI prompt engineer in your back pocket.
Yeah.
That's both impressive and a tiny bit terrifying, don't you think? I mean, where does it end?
It's a valid thought, and it speaks to the rapid pace of innovation in this field. We're not just building smarter AI models. We're building AI that can help us build even smarter AI.
It's a bit like we're stepping into uncharted territory. And it's both exciting and a little daunting at the same time. But hey, that's what makes following the r/LocalLLaMA community so fascinating. Every week there's something new to learn, some new breakthrough to discuss, and some new development that leaves us both inspired and slightly terrified for the future.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm struck by the incredible diversity of this community. We've got everyone from seasoned AI researchers to hobbyists tinkering in their garages, all united by a shared passion for exploring the potential of local AI.
And that's what makes this such an exciting time to be involved in this field. The barriers to entry are lower than ever, and the possibilities are truly limitless.
So to our listeners, whether you're an AI expert or just starting to dip your toes into this fascinating world, we encourage you to check out the r/LocalLLaMA subreddit. Join the conversation, share your insights, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one posting the next big AI breakthrough.
And that's a wrap on this week's deep dive into the world of our local LLaMA. We hope you enjoyed this journey into the heart of the local AI community. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep those AI models humming.